Woo? Woo! Woo! I want to do it all week. I've been waiting for that moment. Woo? All right, end of the day, last speaker. Parties after me. I'm going to talk really, really fast about all sorts of stuff. I'm going to talk about things that are mushy. I'm going to talk about relationships and love and emotions. Because love is what gets people to talk about you. Emotions are what motivate them to go out and tell all their friends how great you are. Relationships and building relationships around those emotions are what turn customers into fans, into evangelists, where they're going out there and they're working every day to support you and support your business. Word of mouth marketing, all marketing comes down to one big idea, which is earning the respect and the recommendation of your customer. And those always go together. In the next 30 or so minutes, we'll talk about exactly how to earn that respect, how to get those recommendations. None of it's about social media. It's all about how you build those relationships with those customers. It starts with happiness, making people happy. When you give people a smile in any kind of way, they start telling their friends, I love these guys. They're great. So I'm going to use some really old classic examples, but they tell the right story. There's an e-commerce site called Red Envelope, and you order from Red Envelope, and it's just a catalog of gifts like you give people for a wedding or whatever. But when those gifts show up, they come in this gorgeous red box with this glossy wrapping paper and a big giant white bow, and it shows up at a birthday party or a wedding shower, and everybody says, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? And it's so interesting because normally you give someone a gift and they talk about the gift. Hey, that's a cool thing, thanks. But with 10 cents worth of wrapping paper, you've got a room full of people at this party talking about the merchant. Piece of shiny paper, and you've generated word of mouth for a whole room full of people. I love Drury Inn. Nothing fancy, like the Drury Inn. What a name for a hotel chain. But you go to Drury Inn, and there's always a little sign next to the telephone that says, free phone calls when you stay at the Drury Inn. They also have free fried chicken dinners. So you pick up the phone, and you call a friend, and you say, dude, I'm at the Drury Inn, got free phone calls. I have a cell phone, I don't know why I'm doing this, but it's free. And we're so used to getting ripped off that we're so excited to tell people that we got something free. So for, I don't know, a nickel's worth of long-distance phone calls, they have 250,000 people every night in their hotels telemarketing for them for free because they made them happy. And it surprised them a little. Do you guys remember Jones Soda? They were big for a while, like really funky, hippie Portland soda brand. But every Thanksgiving, Jones Soda had this 6-pack of Thanksgiving sodas, and they were nasty. Turkey, garlic, mashed potato, cranberry. Cranberry was okay, the rest tasted like Windex. But it was ridiculous. So you go to the store, you see Thanksgiving 6-pack of sodas, and you buy it, and you take it to your Thanksgiving dinner, and you show your whole family, and you sip it, and you spit it out. They made you happy, so you bought their brochure for the purpose of taking it to your house to show your entire extended family. And they hear about you, and then they go buy cola and lemon lime and all that. Really, really simple stuff. And then there's the Grandmaster, Zappos. They make us all happy. We all have our story. I don't need to tell you any. But Zappos should not exist. They sell shoes you can buy anywhere else cheaper because Zappos never discounts. So why do we keep giving them our money? Why do they sell almost $2 billion a year worth of shoes? Because we all have a moment where you can call them up in the middle of the night and talk about your weird feet or your bunions or your UPS guy, and they listen to us, and we can buy stuff and fondle it and send it back, and they humor our fetish. We love these guys. We love how they make us happy. So this brings us to the definition of word-of-mouth marketing. Now, word of mouth, the first line, that's just something that happens naturally. People talk. Word of mouth marketing, the second M, is a conscious thing that you can do to get people to talk about you and your store and your company and your products. There's two big parts to the definition. It's giving people a reason to talk about your stuff, and that's the funky sodas and the great service and the red wrapping paper. There's got to be something to talk about. And then the second half is making it easier for that conversation to take place. How do you help your fans tell their friends? How do you help them tell more friends? There's all the social media tricks that you already know, but there's a lot of just old-fashioned offline stuff when you make a conscious decision to say, how am I going to make it easier to share? Remember those emails that we get, like the friends and family secret discount at the Gap or Old Navy or Brooks Brothers? You know what your friends think you wear by what they forward you. And you get those emails, 10% off friends and family, we don't know where it is. Not a complicated offer. But if every Gap employee had a card, friends and family discount card, and they would loan it to their best friend occasionally, rarely, they'd get a little bit of word of mouth. They take the exact same offer, paste it into an email, they make it super easy to share, and millions of people get this offer for free, free to the company, within minutes, just by taking the exact same idea and making it more mobile. And we'll keep talking about this idea of taking ideas that you've got and making them easier to share. So think back in time to the first time someone brought you to Krispy Kreme. So most of us, someone brought us there for that first moment. Remember what did they want you to see? Hot? Yep, red sign, hot donuts. Someone brought you there. My wife used to drive back and forth between 2 Krispy Kremes until the sign went on. They brought us there. They gave us a reason to talk. And what's interesting about that is they didn't really do anything new because all donuts start hot. All they did was put a sign in the window. But then what happened? They forgot about their reason to talk, the thing that made them so great. And instead of hot now we get the donuts cold by the sink in the garbage can at the gas station. And nobody tells their friends about the food you buy at the gas station. That when you've got that reason to talk, when you've got people excited, when you've got them falling in love with you, you've got to remember that. And you've got to protect it and preserve it and promote it and keep that love alive. You've got to keep remembering that if you don't give them a reason to talk, the conversation ends. So let's talk about love. There are 3 lessons of love. Now, there are 3 lessons of love in marketing. There are many lessons of love that you can do at the party later. That's your business. 3 lessons of love in marketing. First one, new love gets people talking. Teenager in love. Oh my God, he's so dreamy. Oh my God, text, tweet, Instagram, Snapchat. Oops. It's, we love to talk. When you see new love, that's when you got to ask for the recommendation. That's when you got to ask for the referral. When people are excited about your stuff. Everybody, their first week with the Apple Watch, I get email and text, aren't I excited? Oh, let me just rest my arm here during a meeting on the table just in case somebody hasn't seen my watch. Like there's that moment where we want to share. So new love, incredibly powerful. Start there. Second lesson of love and marketing, love and money don't mix. That's good personal advice too. Love and money don't mix. That when you start providing incentives and rewards for word of mouth, hey, share this and I'll give you money, a discount, a coupon, a freebie, whatever. In most cases, you kill the word of mouth. Because if I love your product, I love your stuff, I want to tell everybody this is amazing, you should try this thing, it's going to change your business, it's going to change your life. And if my friend finds out I'm getting $50 for making this recommendation, even though it's a genuine recommendation, now it's creepy. And I'm not going to tell anybody because I'm not going to risk my relationship with my friend to get the kickback from the company. And if somebody wasn't going to recommend you, there's no monetary incentive that's going to cause them to suddenly start telling their friends about you for cash. So when you bring money in the mix, you start making your fans feel uncomfortable and they stop talking about you. Third lesson of love and marketing, nobody talks more than a lover scorned. That when you screw up, when you break the relationship, word of mouth turns bad, and it turns bad fast. When the product stops working, there's a warranty fight, there's a customer service fail. The more they loved you, now the more they're going to talk to people. Because what do? When we're in love, we tell everybody how wonderful our significant other is. And then when there's the bad breakup, what do we have to do? We're embarrassed. So we have to tell 10 times more people what an evil shit he was. And we have to spread the word to the whole planet. So what does that mean? That means that when word of mouth, when the relationship breaks, and it goes negative, it's not really about marketing at all. That word of mouth and earning recommendations starts after the sale, and it's really about lifetime customer service. It's about keeping people happy forever. So that's the what word of mouth is. Now let's talk about the why. Why would people tell their friends about you? 3 big reasons. It's about you, the product, the company, you make good stuff. It's about me, the talker. I'm talking, I'm making recommendations because it makes me feel good for some reason. Or it's about us, the group, the community, the tribe. And different versions of these relationships motivate different people to spread word of mouth. Let's talk about these 3, but it's always about these 3. So the you motivation says people talk about you because they love your product, they love your company, they love your service, and this is the one that's sort of obvious. You should make great stuff and sell it to people and keep them happy and they'll tell everybody. But being good is just sort of table stakes. That's what just gets you in the game. No one tells somebody, hey, you did just what you said you would for the right amount of money. So word of mouth, being good, you have to take it to the next level. And this is Seth Godin's purple cow. Federal law, you must mention Seth Godin in every marketing speech, so check that box. The purple cow, what is the story of the purple cow? The purple cow says, you're driving through the country and you see a herd of cows, whatever. You're driving through the country, you see a herd of purple cows, you pick up the phone, dude, I saw a herd of purple cows. You tell everybody, it's remarkable, you remark upon it. That's what remarkable, sort of the root concept behind word of mouth. You got to give people something worth saying. So what this means is, just because your product's good, there's a completely separate process you need to go through to think about why would they talk? What are you going to give them to remark upon that's above and beyond? And this is hard for really good companies and really good brands because we get used to how good things are. And we sort of run out of reasons to talk. So this is what we call the chocolate problem. The chocolate problem is this. Nobody has ever picked up the phone, called a friend, and said, dude, have you tried chocolate? It's awesome. Because duh, everybody knows, chocolate is awesome. Nobody's going to walk out of this building and call a friend and say, dude, the W is really fancy and hip and cool, because duh, we all know it's fancy and hip and cool, that's what they do. But you go to the Drury Inn, and they give you a free phone call, just like jail, and you're telling everybody how wonderful it is. This is the problem we got to solve, is how do we keep people talking, keep the conversation going? And the absolute best example of this is Google Maps. So go back in time, to the beginning, you first saw Google Maps. Remember MapQuest? North, north, west, zoom, north, west. And then Google Maps comes out and we're like sliding around and zooming in and out, like, whoa, better maps. And everybody tells everybody else, better maps, better maps, better maps, better maps. And for 6 months, the whole world is talking about Google Maps. Until everybody knows, and then they got the chocolate problem and there's no reason to talk about Google Maps. So how do they solve it? They get a new reason to be remarkable, a new topic, satellite view. And each and every one of us looks at the top of our own house and goes, oh, it's my house. Which is stupid, because there's no reason to ever look at the top of your own house. But it was a great reason to talk, and there's an important lesson in that, which is a good word of mouth topic and a reason to talk has nothing to do sometimes with great product features. Sometimes you just need a reason to talk. So if you follow sort of the history of Google Maps, they keep alternating useful, useless, useful, useless. Better maps, useful. Satellite view, Driving directions, very useful. Camera pointing in your bedroom window, I don't know. And they keep the conversation going forever. That's what makes it so wonderful. So you always got to think about that Krispy Kreme story. When the reason to talk runs out and you got the chocolate problem, you got to give them something fresh. Now the second big reason people talk about you, the me motivation. This means, yeah, you're a great company, but I make recommendations because it makes me feel special. I get something emotionally out of the process of telling people how great you are. And there's different people have different motivations and different emotions, and there's lots of different emotional drivers. But the big ones are these three. People want to feel smart, they want to feel important, or they want to have fun. This is why we share. And as you're thinking about generating lots of word of mouth, you want to do things to support these different emotions. So people who want to be smart, they want information. Oh, they want FAQs and newsletters and videos, and they want to know behind the scenes and the inside scoop and pre-release and anything that they can say, I know something, I'm really smart, I'm the expert, I want to tell you about this. So feed them information that makes them feel smart. These are the people who come up to you in the bookstore or the drugstore, strangers, and they're like, hey, that stops the itching. I'm like, I didn't ask, I don't know you. But they want to tell you how to help you and they want to solve your problem. The ego motivation, feeling important, this one's big because we love to brag about brands because the brands make us feel important. Frequent flyer programs are fascinating to me because like the more you travel, the more travel they give you. It's like, hey, you won the pie eating contest, here's a pie. Like, what a terrible, terrible prize. But what's it really about? It's about the red carpet and the priority boarding, and you sit up front and you look at people as they walk past you. They make you feel special. They make you feel important. It doesn't have to be fancy or expensive. Who's a member of the extremely exclusive Costco VIP club? $50 and you can go for 30 minutes early in the morning and shop before the riffraff gets there. Beta tests used to be to debug code and make it better. Last version of Microsoft Office had 7 million beta testers. I don't believe there are that many coders that could possibly have actually tested Office, because it wasn't about beta testing anymore. 7 million Office managers sign up to be beta testers. 6 months later, version of Office comes out, and 7 million bosses walk down the hall and talk to 7 million Office managers and say, do we really need to upgrade the new version of Office? And those Office managers all say, of course we do. I helped build that product. I'm a beta tester. I'm important. People love this stuff. Third emotion is just fun, and this is all the viral crap in the world. People love to share stuff that makes them happy. I want to share an example that's not an online example, because fun is all kinds of things. Every Valentine's Day, White Castle becomes the Love Castle. And they change the signs. There are tablecloths, there are roses on the table. You have to make reservations. There's tableside service. So you can bring your sweetie to have a romantic dinner at White Castle. And it's so ridiculous and it's so awesome. And every year, millions and millions and millions of people turn on their Twitterer and their Instagrammer, and they just start sharing this ridiculous moment that they're having, and they get this flood of word of mouth because they did something worth talking about that makes people smile. Third motivation, the us motivation. I wish I could do an Oprah and like reach under your table, your chair, and there's a bottle of Maker's Mark, but I didn't come prepared. It's the us motivation says we talk about brands and companies and products because we want to belong to the tribe. You ask a teenager, you say, kid, how'd you like to shill for the man? I think that's how they talk, I don't know. And they say, hell no, I will not shill for the man. It starts with an F. But hell no, I will not shill for the man. Hollister, Old Navy, Abercrombie, Under Armour, Nike, covered in logos like a NASCAR driver. Because we think we're independent, but we show our tribe through the brands that we love and the brands that we talk about. So anything that you can do to help people feel like they're a member of your group, including stuff like this, people coming together in real life and talking to each other, this is how you help people show that affiliation and talk about your company. The Makers is there because it's the best ever example of this being done. So if you go to makersmark.com and you sign up for the ambassador program, anyone can do it, this is your homework. You go online, you sign up to be an ambassador, you have to take a pledge, like I hereby swear to tell my poor delusional friends to stop drinking bad whiskey and enjoy the wonders of Maker's Mark. And then they send you a card, and on that card you got your barrel number, because your name is on a brass plaque on an aging barrel of whiskey, and 6 years later you're getting the first bottle. And you're talking about it for 6 years. But they don't just send you one card, they send you 10 membership cards. So when you're at a bar or a party and there's that guy talking about the scotch, and he's got, hey, I'm a Maker's Mark ambassador. And they give you 10, because if that person's into it, you can give them the card, and you'll get another one at home, and they send you a fresh batch every year, because they keep making it easier and easier and easier for you to tell more people. So for 10 cents worth of laser printing, they are getting personal endorsements of the product again and again and again and again. And then they start sending you emails, and they're not sales emails, and they're not coupons, they're always from Rob Samuels, the CEO. Hey, I'm gonna be at the Four Seasons in Tallahassee on Tuesday, meet me in the bar. Or, hey, if you're at the Kentucky Derby, drop by our house and we'll make you dinner. And it's just this real stuff where you feel a part of it, and they're sending you DVDs about how whiskey is made, and they're sending you sort of the backstory on the process, because there's people who want to feel smart, so now you're important, and you're feeling smart, and they're offering you parties, and then they start sending you presents in the mail, gifts. Once got a set of bar glasses with the Maker's Mark logo, and you have that party, and you pull out the spare glasses, and your friends are like, guys, Andy, stop stealing bar glasses when you graduate. You shouldn't do that. No, I'm a Maker's Mark ambassador. They gave these to me. And there's this series of ongoing things, none of which are hard, none of which are high-tech, none of which are expensive, that make that person, that ambassador, feel like a member of the tribe, and they will just promote and promote and promote and promote because they love it. And what's so amazing about this is there are 500,000 Maker's Mark ambassadors talking about how much they love it because they belong to the group. So that was the why. You got the what and the why, and now we're going to get into the how. All word of mouth has these same things, the 5 T's. I call them the 5 T's because they begin with T. And in your professional speaker license, you have to have a 3 of something or 5 of something. So what are the 5 T's? The 5 T's, again, any kind of product. Talkers. Some people are taking pictures of the slides. There's a copy of my book for everybody after this for free. So if you don't have it, you can just have the book. There's a stack of them somewhere, so you'll get all this written up in a nice pretty paperback. Talkers, find people who want to talk about you. Topics, you got to give them something to say, our red wrapping paper. The tools are the techniques of helping them share that make it easier. Taking part, you have to participate in the conversation. What we all know now is that brands that don't respond to the two-way conversation, people think they're assholes, and they say bad things about them. And finally, tracking and measuring. And I promise you, I will not end the day with a metrics presentation. So we may end up with the 4 T's today. Now, what's important is that tools is number 3. That so many viral consultants, social media consultants, whatever, will talk about all the stuff you're supposed to do tactically. It's about the tools. It's not about the tools. It doesn't matter if you get everything right in the viral social media world if you haven't found people who want to talk about you and given them an amazing reason to talk. So if the consultant is selling you a service and he starts with number 3, run away screaming. Wrong guy. Let me break these down a little bit. Not in a rap way. I'm just going to talk about them in more detail. So, talkers. So talkers are not your customers. Talkers are the people who are going to tell your customers how great you are. And this is where most people, I think, go off track. You're trying to get your customers to tell a friend, but sometimes your customers or your prospects are completely different than the people who love to talk. A great way to think about this is with luxury goods. The guys who own Ferraris are not telling all their friends to buy Ferraris. They want to be the only guy who has a Ferrari. The people talking about Ferraris are car junkies and teenage boys and people who think they're so cool. It's the opposite of people who could ever afford a Ferrari. So for them, the talker is the exact opposite of the customer. For restaurants, their most loyal customers are their worst talkers. That restaurant you go to every week with your family, the restaurant you go to every week or every day at lunch or the office, you don't tell anybody you went back to the place again. But you go to a new restaurant for the very first time, and you tell everybody you see the next day, oh my God, I tried a new restaurant, it was great, it was horrible, whatever, jabber, jabber, jabber. The most important word of mouth talkers for a restaurant are your least loyal, newest customers who may never come back. So when you start to think about who your talkers might be, this is where you're building strategies to figure out, okay, how do I recognize a new customer? What can I do to give them an amazing moment? Maybe the chef comes out or a free dessert or something I do because I get this one shot to get them really excited because they're going to post the Yelp review this time and never again. So when you figure out your talkers, the taxi cab, why is that there? And why did I use a clip art of a Russian taxi? That was a mistake. That great story of finding your talkers is when they opened the Wynn Hotel in Las Vegas. So they were trying to figure out who is the most influential group in Las Vegas. The mob? Maybe. But after that, it's the cabbies, because you get off the plane, you get into a cab, and they're the ones who talk about what's happening in town, and you ask where to go and what to do. So the week before the Wynn opened up, biggest hotel launch in years, they let every single cab driver in Las Vegas stay there for free. See the shows, eat the food, gamble, shop, and for 5 years, you get off a plane, you get into a cab in Las Vegas, and you say, hey, what's going on? He's, oh, you got to go to the Wynn. It's the best food. It's the best shows. It's the best gambling. They figured out your talkers, and they gave them feeling important, something to talk about. They knew what to say. They ticked all those word-of-mouth boxes. So once you got your talkers, then you got to give them something to talk about, and that's your topic, your word-of-mouth topic. Who can identify that sandwich? Come on. Nobody? Ruben? What restaurant? Close? Carnegie Deli, New York City. There's always somebody who knows. Carnegie Deli, New York City. Now, I would argue that that is the single best corned beef in the world, but it's also a 7-inch tall corned beef sandwich. If it was a 2-inch tall corned beef sandwich, it would still be a great corned beef sandwich. But it is the ridiculous size of that thing that gets 1 million tourists a year to go there, eat it, go back to Iowa, and say, Paul, you should see what they eat in New York City. Remember, a word-of-mouth topic is not necessarily a product feature or specs or what you do. It's just a great reason to talk. You want something that's easy for people to share, that passes the telephone test and get repeated accurately? It's got to be portable and repeatable and emotional. Did you see the big sandwich? Did you see the big sandwich? Now, those of us who are techies, we're bad at this because we want to talk about features and speeds and feeds and details and all the stuff inside. But real people aren't marketers. Real people don't want to repeat our marketing copy. They just want a cool, easy word-of-mouth topic The word of mouth topic is the carrier. The features and the brand message rides along with it. And if you flip them, it just dies because people don't repeat your brand message. Great example of that. Remember when Apple came out with the goofy blobular iMacs? And they're yellow and blue and purple, and they're just adorable. That's meaningless. It does not matter what color your computer is. It's a meaningless feature. But millions and millions and millions of people had never seen anything like that. And they said, cute computer, cute computer, cute computer, cute computer. And every 5th or 50th or 500th person heard cute computer and looked at the website and decided to buy it. But if they had talked about operating system or software or product features, conversation would have died. Doesn't matter what it looks like. So remember that, not to mix those up. Great example of that. Oreo posts these Facebook posts, and they do product posts and coupons and stuff, but they do these love and relationship posts. Did you grow up in an Oreo cookie-loving family? Like this post if you smile when eating Oreo cookies. What asshole says no to that? Like, no. And these have no marketing benefit whatsoever, except you want to like it, comment, and share it. You look at these ridiculous numbers, and you add up the likes and the comments and the shares, and you multiply by the 150 average friends that people have on Facebook. By having this relationship, love, emotion moment, 4.3 million people found out that they're the friend of a cookie. That's amazing. And it's free. And it's easy. And there's no kind of marketing that can achieve this that also gets the personal recommendation of every one of those 4.3 million people because they love the product. Nothing else does this but word of mouth. So this is the big idea, really. Hugh McLeod did this art for us. This is the question that changes the game. Would anybody tell a friend? Would anybody tell a friend about you? And you need to put this on your monitor, on the wall, in the conference room, create a Slack channel. This is the question that raises the bar. Because if you can't say, hell yes, people will tell a friend about this new feature, you have to do something nasty and unpleasant and expensive. You have to advertise. And advertising's hard. Advertising is the cost of being boring. Because when you're exciting and you get all the rest of this word of mouth stuff right, people will tell their friends to the end of the earth because they love you and they'll do it for free. And when you don't achieve that, you got to pay other people to tell your story for you. So if you can keep pushing this, if you can go to the work every day and say, I love what I do, I'm dying to tell you about it, that's a win. But if you can't say that yourself, your customers aren't going to say it either, you're not going to get any word of mouth, and that means you've got to go back and you got to make it wonderful, special, purple, smelly, amazing, delicious, life-changing, or deeply meaningful. You have got to do something to get a yes to this question, or you're not done yet. That brings us to the next step. How do you help it spread? The tools. Remember, that was number 3? This is your job, is to help your fans tell their friends. And this is hard because good word of mouth needs a little push. It needs a little help. Bad word of mouth is easy because we are so easily pissed off. You know, where's my pickle? I ordered the sandwich and there's no pickle. I'm going to fry you on Yelp. Where's my pickle? So we love to complain when we're angry, but when we're happy, there are very few trigger moments that say, oh, today's the day I post the review. Wow, my dishwasher still works 5 years later. Today I'm going to post a review. Huh, this monitor still does the job. The theme I used 4 years ago is still working great. Now I'm going to wake up and post a review. Like, it doesn't happen naturally, and that's your job as a word-of-mouth marketer, is think about all those amazing moments and all those customers made happy and all those things that you've done to thrill people and help them remember that you need their love and you need their support. And you can do it with all the social media stuff and all the social media tools, but there are some fundamentals. There are 4 fundamentals that we forget about that are game changers. And they're so boring that I put them up here because they're the ones that make the biggest difference. We forget to just ask. The tell a friend button on the side of the page, of every single page. How did Zappos become the first company to get 1 million followers on Twitter and Facebook? When you ordered shoes in the receipt, it said, please follow us on Twitter and Facebook. And nobody figured out that all you had to do was ask nicely, and fans come flocking to you. So you got to ask everywhere. The old, would you like fries with that? that upgrade offer, please tell a friend, please post a review, please like us, please share again and again and again and again. And so many merchants don't seem to notice, like, what does Amazon have that no one else does? That share button every possible way you want to, before you buy, when you're looking at it. They keep asking you to share. Second thing that we forget about is we got to make it easy. And by make it easy, sometimes it means it's the add this, and you got all the buttons and the links and the plugin or whatever. But making it easy is also getting out of our head as the people who are building stuff, and remembering that we don't actually care how people share as long as they share. So if they want to post it to some obscure social network, there should be a button for the obscure social network. If they want to do it on Snapchat or Instagram or Facebook, we don't care. If they want to share a PDF or a download or a video, help people share any way they want, anywhere they can. If you've got stuff with share, and put it out there. That also means if you've got amazing content or help content or instructions and you put it behind a login, you got the white paper you wrote or the free sample, and you got to fill out a form so the sales guy can harass you. You're doing all these things to make it harder to share, and you're killing the sharing. So think about all the ways you can make it easy. You want to give people more stuff, more examples, more samples, more content, more video. And it doesn't count as shareable if you have video in your proprietary player, because nobody knows what to do or how to share it. We know exactly how to share on YouTube. And the final one is also really easy, which is finding a multiplier. And a multiplier says, if someone's about to share with one friend, do everything you can to get them to share with 2 or 4 or 10. Not much more effort. That tell a friend form, better have room to add a bunch of friends' email addresses, not just one. Because they'll do it. If it remembers people they shared with previously, they'll share with more people. And if you go through the YouTube sharing process, you'll see exactly how easy it is for them to help you share with lots of people. But I love this offline story that's wonderful. So you guys know Potbelly sandwich shop? Now they're everywhere. But they used to be just in Chicago. And we love, if you're from Chicago, you love Potbelly. It's a cult thing. And when they started to go national, they thought about how do we get those friends of ours to share. So they did something super old school. They found a list of people who moved to that city. So when they opened in Austin, they found 200 people who had just moved to Austin. And they sent them a one-page letter in a postal envelope with a stamp and a handwritten envelope. And it just said, hey, we know you used to live in Chicago. I bet you miss us. So this letter is good for 10 free sandwiches at the new Potbelly in Austin. And that's genius. Because if they gave you 10 coupons, you'd go 10 times and you'd eat 10 sandwiches. But a letter that says this is good for 10 sandwiches, what are you going to do? You're walking around the office, you're walking around the dorm, you're walking around the neighborhood saying, Potbelly, I love it, it's great, let's go, come get in a group together, I'm buying lunch for 9 people, I'm special, it's fun, it's important. They turn one recommendation into a whole group activity around the brand. The fourth T, taking part. How do you participate in this conversation? There's lots of talk about that. You've heard great advice today and all over the place about how do you participate in the online conversation. But I love to focus on the basics because it's so easy. Every time someone says something nice about you online, say thank you. Find your lowest paid employee who can spell. And just we all eliminated a guy right there. And put them in front of Google and look at all your products and all your brand names. And every time someone says something nice, go in the comment box and just say, thank you, we appreciate it. And what does everybody do when they see that? And the company that they like actually acknowledges them? They say, well, that's great, you guys are wonderful. And you just doubled the word of mouth. And every time somebody's pissed off and angry, you go in that comment box and you say, hey, I'm with the company and I'm sorry and I want to try to fix it. And that just takes a few minutes and you'll have this big discussion and you'll go back and forth and sometimes you can fix it and sometimes you can't, but they will respect you for finding it and they will respect you for trying. And what happens? Blogs are upside down. That original angry complaint is now buried in the archives. And hey, these guys were pretty cool and they found my problem and they tried to help and maybe they fixed it, maybe they don't, but I like these guys. And you just turn a negative into a positive and change the game. And here's your little bit of metrics to end the day. Just 10 times a day, you can find a way to say thank you or I'm sorry. At the end of the year, you've got 3,600 permanent inbound links to your site tied to praise. And if you've got a bigger organization and you can find a way for 10 people, 10 times a day to say thank you or I'm sorry, by the end of the year, you have 36,000 inbound permanent links of people saying something nice about you. And that's pretty amazing. This little ratio, for every person a happy customer talks to, an angry customer talks to 5. Slightly different for different companies, but roughly the same everywhere. So an angry customer is wiping out all your new customer acquisition, 5 to 1. But when you convert a detractor to a promoter, when you find somebody who's angry and you make them happy again, because most companies don't bother, they are so excited that you fixed it, that converted detractor, that person you made happy, tells 10 people on average for every person the original happy customer talked to. That means just about the best thing you can do for your company and your brand and your word of mouth is go out there and make people happy. And that's why I teach this stuff, and that's why I talk about this stuff, because there's never been a force out there in business or nature or economics that rewards us for being nice and making people happy. And word of mouth is the first thing that's ever happened that punishes the bad guys for treating us poorly. And when we treat people right, and when we make them happy, they go out there and they grab all their friends and they bring them to support us and they surround us with love. And that's how the good guys win. And that's how we make things better. And it's good for us as businesses, and it's good for our communities and our families, and that's wonderful. So go make people happy.